All right, well, welcome to Library 101 Databases. In our class today, we will be covering 3 specific databases, but hopefully this will encourage you to try out our extensive selection that we have to meet various information needs. All of our databases do require internet access, and most of them do require an active Plano Public Library card. If you are using them in the building, you usually do not have to log in with that card, but if you do use them from home, you will need that library card number on hand to use the databases. So all of our databases are located on our Research and Learn page off of our main website, and I will demonstrate how to get there in just a moment. We have recently updated the layout, so it's a little new and hopefully a little easier to navigate. And then we will be highlighting 3 specific databases today. We'll be highlighting Chilton Library, GALE Legal Forms, and EBSCO Consumer Help Complete. So our objectives with today's class are get you more familiar with the databases, show you the use of these specific 3, give you a little bit of information about what kind of resources each database has, and then give you a basic navigation and some of the basic features for each through a demo of the database. So let's get started. So first up, we have Chilton Library. So what is this database? It is a database of vehicle resources for repair procedures, technical service bulletins and recalls, labor estimation, maintenance schedules. So with the repair procedures, these are step-by-step guides on how to do various repairs across the vehicle. Some of them are geared more towards car workshops where they've got heavy machinery, but they can be as simple as replacing your headlight bulb. Then the technical service bulletins are stuff that repair shops tend to use to find out details in dealing with vehicles, but what you guys would like to know would be the recalls, stuff that has been recalled and needs replacing. And this particular aspect is real great for seeing what all has gone wrong with a vehicle and needs to be taken care of. The labor estimation is an hour estimation for how much any given operation on a vehicle will take. They use hours because the cost varies from state to state, from city to city. So it's a lot easier to provide the hours it will take, and then you can ask how much they charge per hour, do a little math, and you know how much it's going to end up costing you. And then the maintenance schedule is exactly the same thing you would find inside a vehicle, the little guide of what you do for each mileage. But say you've lost it, it's got damaged, or you bought a used car that didn't come with one, you'd be able to see the maintenance schedule on this particular part of the database. So special requirements, the bulletins, recalls, and a few of the images are viewable only through Adobe Reader, which is an app that you can easily download. It's free. And then on Windows computers, Adobe Flash Player is going to be necessary for some of the animated features, like an animated guide on how to do a repair. So I'm going to switch over and give you a little demonstration for that. Just one moment. All right, so what you're seeing now should be the library webpage, so planolibrary.org. And from here, you'll go up to Learn, and then scroll down to Research and Learn here. And this will take you to the Research and Learn page, which has all of our databases. So our new navigation that we have now, we've grouped our databases by topic to help make it easier to find resources that more specifically meet your information needs. So for Chilton, it is under Home, Repairs, and Hobbies, and you can just click the link up here, and it automatically scrolls down. If you happen to ever click the wrong link, you can always hit back to the top, and it'll take you up back here, so you don't have to do any scrolling to get from point A to point B. So when you get to this part, it will show you the requirements. Now, these are just the basic requirements. It doesn't really get into the specifics of how what's required, like I mentioned, Adobe Acrobat Reader and Flash Player. And then to get to it, you can hit up here on the picture or down here on the link. Either way will take you there. Now, like I said, when you're in the building, if you happen to have a computer reservation to use the computers and you're wanting to access this, it'll take you immediately to the Chilton Library page. If you access this from your home computer, you will have to make a slight detour to log in. It will just ask for your library card number, and then bam, you come to this page. So it's a very simple setup. You start with your vehicle selector. Each of these blanks you can type into, or you can click and scroll. So if it's something close to the top, it may be easier to just click and scroll. If you're looking for something a little older, you might want to type it in, just because that way you don't have to scroll all the way down. So I'm going to demonstrate with a 2010 Toyota Yaris. Since T is near the bottom, I'm going to type this out just so you can see what it looks like. So it comes up with the suggestion, and then Yaris also near the bottom. We're going to skip the whole scrolling. And then you won't get to hit to select until you've clicked outside of the little drop-down screen, and see now it's active. So each vehicle is going to have a set of things that you can access, and what is available depends on what information has been shared with Chilton Library. So for the 2010 Toyota Yaris, all 4 of our options are available, and you see them right here. You can either navigate using the links here or the links up at the top. And the nice thing about the ones up at the top is they stay up there the whole time. So if you get down deep into one of these and you want to hop back to a different topic, you can easily click up at the top. So we're going to do prepare first just to see what that looks like. And I actually used this recently. I have a Toyota Yaris myself, and I used this to change a light bulb because I didn't want to have to take it in and pay for the cost of labor just to replace a light bulb, especially since the light bulb itself was only like $15. So for this one, you're going to get a table of contents, and the table of contents will vary depending on the make of the vehicle. So this is kind of the most common one I've seen, but I will show you a different one just so you can see how they vary. So if you know exactly what you're looking for, you can try typing it up here in the search. Something to keep in mind is the search can be very specific. For example, if I wanted to search just headlight, it says no items found, which makes absolutely no sense because all cars have headlights. But if I add an S, there we go, we get all sorts of things. So the search engine can be a little picky. So if at first you don't succeed, try some variations. For headlight, it might be headlamp. It just depends on the terms used in the documents. So this one is a way you can get quickly to stuff that you're looking for. So if you wanted to get to headlights, this is just the quick roadmap there. Or if you wanted to navigate using the table of contents, back that up for you here. You can go down to, so for lights, it would be under chassis electrical, and then lighting. And you'll notice as I click these links, you get a little list here of the trail that you've left. So this is called the breadcrumb trail. Much like Hansel and Gretel, you're leaving a trail behind that you can then follow back if you want to. So we get all the way down, and it will be specific to the type of vehicle. So if you have a hatchback, you'd have to make sure you click the right one. And then it has all sorts of varieties of how to disassemble it, remove it, repair it, reassemble, installation. And once you get all the way down to the actual instructions, it includes pictures and step-by-steps of how to do the process. You can enlarge these pictures by clicking on the link. And yes, I know it looks like it's not very large. Let's see, my share may not be sharing it because it's a separate window. Let me make sure you can see it real quick. Here we go. So it starts out looking fairly small, but you can zoom in significantly so you can see the details. Depending on the company that has shared these instructions, some of them use actual pictures from the vehicle. Some of them use these more simplistic line drawings that you see. Some of them even have some interesting 3D modeling. So you're going to get a variety of pictures depending on what's been provided. Oop, I hit the wrong button there. Sorry about that, folks. Let me bring it back up here. There we go. Sorry about that. So if you're having a hard time reading the text, you can use, there's a listening feature up here. And if you click this, it will play through the text. It does have a very robotic voice. It is reading it by phonetics, so sometimes things get read a little interestingly. Yaris does not get pronounced Yaris, but it highlights the words as you go so that you can see what it's talking about. You can also adjust the volume. So this is a nice feature that is available for many of the components of Chilton Library. So once you've seen that, let me bring up a different vehicle just so you can see the different table of contents look for it. So back up to select vehicle. So we're going to look at an F-150. Let me get that real quick. We'll do a 2016 Ford F-150. And Ford has a slightly different layout for their table of contents, so I wanted to demonstrate that for you. So select. And it also, you'll notice it does not have as many options as the Yaris does, and that's just due to what was provided. So it doesn't have the labor estimations. So for repair, you'll see it's got, oh, interesting. Well, this one was different from the one I have. Oh, sorry, this one's the one I wanted to share a video of. I wrote the information down wrong. So this one actually has an example of the videos that are available. So if you go down to the brake disc machining, you have access to videos, which are on-vehicle brake lathe training videos. Now these, you'd have to highlight the web page here, copy it and paste it up into the address bar here. I did that in advance and pulled up the video just so you can see what it looks like. It is small, but you can expand it to be full screen if you need to. Depending on what's been provided, it is capable of having audio. This particular video does not, but it kind of does a visual demonstration of what's being done for that particular process. So that is available there. So we'll go back to vehicles, and the one I was going to demonstrate that has a different table of contents is a 2018 Chevrolet Cavalier. Ooh. It's a fun one. Cavalier, select. Here we go. And this one, something you will notice with the newer models is they tend to have less options available. It just depends on how quickly that information is released to Chilton Library. So for older ones, you'll tend to find a lot more of the different options available for information. So here we go. And you'll see this one has a slightly different setup. It doesn't have the chassis electrical. You'd have to find it under a different section for this one if you're looking for headlights. So just keep in mind that it can be a bit of an interesting dive to find what you're looking for. If you don't know the direct way to get there, search is your friend. Just be sure to try different search terms if you're having a little trouble there. And let's demonstrate the bulletins and recalls real quick. So when you look at the bulletins and recalls, it lists all of them together. It gives you groups of 10 and then shows you the total amount. If you are just the average Joe who only wants to see what recalls you have to deal with and what you need to take into the mechanic and get fixed, you can actually select only show recalls here. And look at that, the Cavalier has absolutely no recalls. Sounds like an awesomely safe vehicle. If you want to go back, you can see what the bulletins look like. There's an option to have the bulletin read here with a little speaker and the page, or if you just want to read it, you can click on it and it will open it up as a PDF document, which is where you need the Adobe Acrobat Reader so you can read the document. And it's just a pop-up window that you can then close and go back to where you were. And let's go back to our Yaris because that one had the maintenance log. I'll give you a quick guide of this. This one does require you to get pretty specific on the type of car that you have. If you're not sure, you can always err on the side of caution with the base model, because that's going to be pretty much the standard that all the other fancier versions are going to be based off of. And then you want to make sure you pick the right body type, and then transmission. And it will give you a maintenance schedule for either normal operating or severe. So if you drive this thing back and forth from downtown Dallas all the way out to McKinney or what have you, that would be a severe. But we'll demonstrate the normal one. So it'll show you the first entry. So at 5,000 miles, it tells you what you need to do. You can also choose to enter your actual mileage that you have on your vehicle. So let's say you're at 32,000 miles or 3,200. Let's go big. You can then enter it, and it'll tell you, oh, hey, this is in between the mileages, but we will bump you up to the next interval. So it tells you what your mileage is that it's bumped you up to, the 35,000. You can scroll back and forth using the arrows. And then if you want to see what the entire map out of all of your maintenance is going to be, you can click the link to the full chart. And it gives you all the services, the type of service, and then puts a little X by what needs to be done when. So these are your mileages based times 1,000. So at the 5, that's 5,000, all the way up to 120,000. If you drive it past that, then you're on your own. But really, they do still have options for it, but usually they don't go beyond the 120,000 miles. So that's the basics for that. You can also, if you realized you hit the wrong configuration, you can go back to the configuration filter here and re-enter it so you get the right information you need. Demonstrate the labor estimating. So you can either search for the operation that you need, or if you don't know the specific terms that you're dealing with for that particular maintenance that needs to be done or that repair, you can use view operations, which does another drop-down menu, table of contents, and you can click, say you need your body on your car repaired, gives you options on different things. So let's say your hood isn't locking properly and you need to replace it. You can click on that and it will show you, and it defaults to regular. For a 2007 to 2011 model, it's going to take at the dealership under warranty 0.3 hours. At a regular body shop, 0.4. And then for a 2012 to 15, slightly more time. If it's been severely operated, it's going to increase the time because they're going to have to deal with dirt and debris and just stuff that you normally don't have to deal with regular conditions. And so these are the hours that you would then take the pricing that you get from the maintenance shop and multiply it out, and you've got how much it's going to cost you. And let me see if I can actually get a repair. I know for a fact that the Yaris has had recalls since I drive one. Here we go. So here's some examples of safety recalls that have happened. So everybody remembers the Tanaka airbags. Let's see if we've got those on here. More. And if you don't see it on here, it'll have a more option and you can drop down and see different ones and the different types of forms that you have to deal with on that. Okay, so that is Chilton Library. It's pretty straightforward and easy to use. If you ever get lost in the weeds here, you can hop back to the home. And there is a little feature for if you're interested in taking the ASE test prep. It does have some quizzes. These are really just a demonstration of a larger product that the library does not have access to. But if you wanted to get an idea of what is on those tests and kind of a feel for if you know the information, you can try these out. And they're just little quizzes. But again, this is just a small sampling of a larger product that exists out there created by GALE that the library does not have direct access to. So we'll move on to our next database. Let me switch over here to the PowerPoint. Any questions? All right. And moving on to our next presenter, Cheryl.
Hello, and I should have gone back. Wait a minute.
That's okay, I'll get it back up for you, Cheryl.
Sure.
1 second. We'll get
I went
the
straight to
PowerPoint
the
back.
internet. I forgot about the PowerPoint.
Jumped the gun. That's okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. We got
All
it back.
right. All right. I'm going to talk about GALE legal forms. They do have thousands of forms, and for business, general forms that we could use are for ourselves, like wills. They were drafted by attorneys, and there is a directory of attorneys, but it is not a complete directory, and GALE did not pay them, and there are disclaimers if you looked at the directory. They said, hey, put me on your directory, and that's how they are why they're listed. There is a Q&A, which really will be helpful if you're not sure about something. And then the legal definitions, and that really helps because I can never get grantee and grantor straight in my head. So it's always nice to be able to look at the definitions. And if you want to print out your forms, it does help to have Adobe Reader. So now I'm going to move us over to the internet and show you what it looks like. Now, to get to the legal forms, you can choose either business or research. The reason they put it into business is there are a lot of business forms, and that's one place, but because it also includes just the layperson forms, they also put it over into the research area. So there's two ways to get to the legal forms. Or you could just browse down through the whole page if you want to look at everything that we have. So we would click on business to get to the choice of legal forms. And this is what you're going to see. It's pretty straightforward. If you are not sure at all what you want, start at the top and fill out the broad search box. That's what I would suggest. And usually, whenever I teach about databases and genealogy, that's my other background, I would tell you not to do this because you know what specific thing you want. But here in the legal forms, sometimes you don't know what you want. You don't know the name of it. And so you might just start off with, well, I have some tenant questions, and I spelled it wrong, didn't I? So let me go back to home. It's it's not letting me go back.
I think you need to re-sign in there. I think it might
I
have signed you
do,
out.
don't I? Because I didn't use it. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't know that it would do that for me. All right,
Yeah,
so
so
see?
it will time out. Unfortunately, if you leave it for a while, it will time out on you and you have to log back in.
Well, shame on me. I should have practiced that before. I apologize. All right, let's try it again. So I thought I spelled tenant wrong because I do that. Tenant is not a word that's so now in here, you can put tenant or tenants. You don't have to be specific. A lot of times I try to do the root word instead of putting plural and it goes to what you want. So it's telling us there's 644 items that pertain to the word tenant. And you could look through here to see what you want to read through them. If you're not sure whether this really fits what you want and you don't understand all the terminology, you could look at the legal definitions to understand what something means before you go back to that form. Or you could try other directions. I liked really the best part of this was the complete legal forms online. And these are the forms that let you fill it in while you go along. So it's interactive. And this was the best part of the legal forms to me. I've been thinking wills for quite a while, and there is a way to go to the wills and then last will and testament. And I can click on this and I can start filling it out and answer all of these questions and go to the next and answer the questions. And once it's all done, I verify and submit, and then it gives me the whole last will and testament all filled out with my name, my husband, and my children's names and addresses and any other information that I fill out. And there it is, complete. And I've saved it into my onto a thumb drive because now I have it written. And I did it for myself with children as being the benefactors. Okay, maybe I should do my husband also, but you know, as the benefactor. But right now I did it thinking that he wouldn't be around and it would be my children. I may go back and change it again, but I can do that because it's all online and I can change it whenever I want to. So I really like the idea that I could choose any one of these forms. And you know how they always ask you, do you have a power of attorney? Or so you could go in and fill out the information, and then it's there and ready for you at any time. So the forms that are right there for you is very helpful. Now I keep going back to home and using that than the back arrow. I just think it's easier to jump back, especially if I've gone deep into clicking on several different buttons, and I like that that's there at all times. Another way to look at things is to use it by alphabet or by main categories. And when you look at both of these, they do almost the same thing, but it's just another way to browse for what you're looking for. And maybe you want to do a name change, and you can click on it and okay, is it for adults? Is it for minors? And then there's these different forms, and you notice that it all has to do with Texas. That's what's filling in for ours. There are other ways to go at other states, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But I just wanted to show you that there are these other forms. Some of these, like this one, is not the form to fill out. It's just to print it out, and then you can fill it out from that point. And so that's the other way to go for forms. That's why you need the Adobe to be able to print out everything. All right, let's go back to home again. The other thing, of course, is on the left side, the main popular searches, and this will give you an idea of what to fill out. I just, again, it's the same thing as the browse main categories or to try by alphabet, but it helps whenever it's a very big, broad area. And again, it can be overwhelming, and you have to have an idea of what you want, but it is nice to be able to see that there's these forms, and you can decide whether you want it having to do with healthcare, and you go in. It gives you an idea of what the form is about, the description. You can get a preview to see what that's going to be and understand how to fill it out. And then again, so if you read something you don't understand, then you can go to the legal definitions and say, look up a word, and they make it 3 or 4 columns, and you can see it can just go on and on. And I was going to just look up what debtor means, and it can mean several different things depending on what you're looking for. But you see how I can add the single term and it would get me to everything, and all the different ways that a debtor is listed. Whenever I was said, oh yeah, I'll take on the legal forms, I just played with each button, and it's telling you that I only have Texas to choose from. So we can't get any of the other forms, but there are probably ways to get to that, and I did not play with that part. The attorney directory, remember, there's disclaimers everywhere, and this is one about the attorney directory. They did not pay to get in here. GALE is not endorsing them. It's just that these are the people. But you see, though, you can find an attorney for Alabama or other states. And so maybe if you know that you have to work with Oklahoma, having to deal with land in Oklahoma, you could choose information with this, what am I trying to think, with the Oklahoma real estate, and you wanting to find out some help for your land in Oklahoma. And that would be the way to get help. The Law Digest is the explanations of what's going on. Let's see, we'll just trying to explain a little bit more. It's a little more in depth than the definition is, and on some terms it can be further, a whole page of definitions or information. There's that was really all I was going to say or show you, but if anybody has any questions, I'd like to know what you want to talk about. Because this one is just explore and see what you can find for whatever legal aspect you want. Like I said, to me, this is the best part, is the legal forms online that you can fill out for yourself. No questions?
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Bethany. I'm going to spend a few minutes letting you know about one of the health-related databases available to you at the library. If at any point I am talking too fast, please raise your hand or say something in the chat. I have a tendency to talk fast, so I'm going to be talking about Consumer Health Complete. It is part of the EBSCO online reference system, and it's a comprehensive resource for consumer-oriented health-related topics.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Bethany.
Hi.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. My bad.
No. Anyway, this is aimed at the layperson. This is aimed at you and me, not medical doctors, nurses, or people who are in the medical profession. So it does have covers all areas of health and wellness, from mainstream medicine to the many different complementary, holistic, and integrated medicine. So Consumer Health Complete provides access to nearly 80 full-text consumer health magazines, so that's pretty cool, including American Fitness, Better Nutrition, Fit Pregnancy, Harvard Health Letter, Men's Health, Muscle and Fitness, Prevention, and Vegetarian Times. This database also includes searchable full text for more than 1,000 health-related pamphlets and more than 130 health reference books, including books published by the People's Medical Society. It also contains more than 4,500 clinical reference systems reports in English and Spanish. And the American Society of Health System Pharmacists, that's what AHFS stands for, Consumer Medical Information, which includes drug information monographs written in lay language for you and me. So if you're interested in knowing more about what is in Tylenol, that would be a great place to start. Lastly, it does have the Merriam-Webster Medical Desk Dictionary. So you will need Adobe Reader to view the PDFs that are in the database. And now I'm going to dive in. So give me one sec. We'll take a look. We're going to go back to the Research and Learn page on the library website. And we're going to click on the health link to rapidly get us down there. You'll notice there are 6 health databases. So I invite you to go back at any point and check in and see what's available in all of those. But we're going to click on the Consumer Health Complete picture here. You can also click on the link. I've actually got it open right there, so we'll come right to it. At home, you will instead have a login page that will ask for your library card number, so just have that handy. All right, we're back onto the Consumer Health Complete page, and there are a number of ways for you to find information here. So we're just going to review what the homepage looks like to give you an idea how you can navigate to find information. Right here, this is the basic search box. The find field is the easiest place to get started. You can type a term in here and click search, and we're going to look for diabetes. And you'll notice that it has autocomplete, like I think the other 2 databases had it as well. I love this feature because while I love to read, I'm a very bad speller. So this is great if you're not completely sure about what you're looking for. You can type slowly and it will give you suggestions. I'm going to go for diabetes right here and click search. Whoa, and I think I had the same issue that we had before where I need to log back in. So let's go right here. And we'll go back to diabetes. It will time you out, so don't freak out if that happens, just sign back in. And it's always going to default to the evidence-based reports tab. And you'll see it has 12 items here, but if you want to narrow your search right off the bat, it has all these other source types that you can click through. And if you were to look at all results for diabetes in this database, you'd see there's a whopping, more than 21,000 different things. So you definitely want to narrow things down. If we go back to the home page, you'll see that it also has the source types broken out right here, so that right off the bat, if you knew that your child was doing a report on diabetes and they needed a great diagram, you could click right on that source type and see what is available. And let's see what they've got. And click search. And just click into the link. And so this is going to give you just kind of a citation level view of that listing. So we'll go back to the home and check out videos and animations. And again, let's see what we can find for diabetes. Hit search. And if it has HTML full text, it's just going to give you a citation. So you probably need to take a look at the list and make sure that it has a picture. There may be some items that don't have an animation or that don't have a diagram, so you won't see it if it doesn't have it. But those are the different source types, and they're just tabs that you can go through to take a look. You might find some of the results are PDFs, so you will, as I mentioned, need Adobe Reader to view them. But when you open it up, it's going to look exactly as it would in the source material. So if this came from a book, this is what it would look like in the book. And from here, you can print it, you can download it. So that's a really cool feature. And we'll go back to our results list and go back up to the top. I want to go back to the home page and just quickly show you some other ways to search. You can click on the quick finder to find a disease, condition, injury, or procedure. So you could click on D for diabetes and then scroll down until you find it and click through to find more results. So that's an easy way to get information. The health highlight does change periodically, so they're going to put something that's topical. Obviously, right now, COVID-19 is a hot topic. So if you wanted to, at a glance, get more information about COVID-19 or whatever the health highlight was, you would just click Read More. You can search by topic. Just like with the legal forms, it's going to have very popular topics in health, and you can click through. And from here, you can narrow it into subtopics. And so, for instance, on food, nutrition, and exercise, I'm going to say I want to see diets that are related to this. And then I'm going to type in, I can type in something, my term to narrow it. And, you know, these results come from a variety of sources. They may come from encyclopedias or reference books or noted vetted journals. So you actually have to click through to the link to find out. So for instance, this is coming from a journal called In Brief. And it only had one article on food and nutrition for diabetes. So we'll go back to the home page. And browse by popular sources is great. These are going to be popular magazines and health-related magazines. And you can click through, and it's going to give a listing of the most recent articles, but you can also search within the publication on the term that you're interested in. So if I were to go into Yoga Journal, it would list the most recent articles from Yoga Journal. It's going to tell you a little bit about the Yoga Journal. And then you can also search for a specific term within this publication. And it will share the results with you. And you can sort them. You can sort by relevance, the newest, the oldest. If you happen to know a certain author, you're always reading in Yoga Journal and you know who you like to read, you can search for that as well. So back to the home page. One thing that I do like to remind people is that if they are interested in finding out if a specific publication is included in the database, you can click on the advanced search and then click up here on the publications tab. And then it's going to list everything alphabetically. If you had the time and inclination, you could simply page through from A to Z, or you could say, okay, I think I'd love to know if it has women's health in here, and browse. And so it tells us that it does have women's health full text. That means that they have the actual article from July 1st of 2007 to the present. It's going to be in HTML text only, so it's not a PDF, but it is cool. You can look in 2020 and go back issue by issue if you wished. So Lastly, let's go back here. Here's the medical dictionary that was mentioned, Merriam-Webster. So if you're not sure about a certain term, you can click into it. Can you all see that? Or do I need to share it? This is great. You can just type in your term, hit search. It's going to give you a top-level definition, and it will tell you how to pronounce it. It will also tell you some related terms to get you going. So that's a really cool thing. And any questions so far? I see.
We have somebody asking where or what courses can they take online to know more about library things, which we do have planolibrarylearns.org for our previously recorded classes.
Yeah. And maybe we can put that in the chat so that you guys can get the link. And I wanted to mention just one other thing before we get out of Consumer Health Complete, and that is about the wonderful EBSCO system. So you'll note it when you are in any of these, any of your results that you find. Let me get to one. You can add it to a folder. You can print it or email it. If you add it to a folder, it's going to save it to the folder while you are in this session. But if you leave or if your session times out, you will lose that information that you found. However, if you go and sign in and create a folder, and you'll just click Create One Now, then it will save whatever you put in that folder. It will allow you to go into the folder and create different folders for all of your different, if you're looking at diabetes, or you want to have a folder that's all about your favorite yoga positions or your favorite healthy choice recipes. You can make all of those folders and store things in them, and they will be there every time you sign in with your username and your password. And you will be able to access those folders anytime that you sign into EBSCO. So if you are using a different EBSCO host database and you sign into your folder, you will see all of your Consumer Health Complete items as well. So it kind of travels with you. No one else can see that stuff. It's your folder, but it's a really great way to store all of the information that you've invested so much time finding. So before we leave completely from Consumer Health Complete, I did want to let you know that you can change the language up here. When you change the language, it's going to change the interface. So it's not going to change the results unless, so if whatever language the results are in, and it's mainly English, although there are a ton of stuff in Spanish and some German, but it will change the navigation for you. So if English is not your native language, then you can choose your native language. And that's kind of a cool thing. There's more than 20 different languages that you can choose from. One other thing, if we go back to Research and Learn, and you open the Health and Wellness EBSCO link, that's kind of the main umbrella, and it's going to take you to this page. And if you scroll down, you can also select Salud en Español, and that's the Consumer Health Complete version that is specifically, everything is in Spanish, not just the navigation, but all of the results. Everything here is going to be in Spanish. So that's really great if you are a native Spanish speaker, or you know someone in your family who is a native Spanish speaker. It's a great resource. So right now we are going to go back to our slide. Oh, I'm sorry.
Did a quick question. We did have a question about where the articles are primarily sourced from. Is there a way to look at the different, a listing of the different sources for this particular database? I know some of the other EBSCO ones do have a list. I don't know if this one does.
You can certainly, if you go into the advanced search, oops, I'm still on.
Still in Greek.
Still in Greek.
Looks Greek to me.
If you click on publications, it's going to tell you all the different publications that they pull from. And if you go and look at the source types, it's going to, once you click in, it's going to tell you where the source came from. So off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you other than the Merriam-Webster EBSCO dictionary. You'd have to do a little bit more research, but it will tell you once you get to the results. Once you click through, it'll tell you where it's coming from. It'll have an entire citation, so you know where that information is being pulled from. I hope that answered the question. You can always email us if you have further questions. So, but now we will go back to our main slide. And we just wanted to let you know about some upcoming programs. You can find these listings on the library's main page at www.planolibrary.org. Just scroll down a little bit to the middle of the page. That's where the events calendar is. If you go every Monday and check, you'll see what's there. But you can kind of plan ahead. We've got stuff going on all through August. And if we want to go to the next slide, we did want to welcome you to follow us on social media. That's a great place to find out everything that's going on at the library, what's coming up, what's happening today. So you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can view this webinar and other webinars and lots of other great videos on the library's YouTube station. So if you have any further questions about the databases or anything related to Library 101 that you want to know more about, you can go to the main page of the library and click on the About link, and then scroll down to Help from a Librarian. And I'll just show you that real quick. Oh, I guess I can't. But just take if you go back to the home page and click on About, you'll click on the Help from a Librarian picture, and from there you can fill out a form for Ask a Librarian. It's going to want to know the basics of your question. You can also book a librarian, which is a 30-minute, oh, thanks. We're getting there. Wonderful, help from a librarian. And you've got some choices, Ask a Librarian or Book a Librarian, which is a 30-minute schedule, one-on-one, where someone will get back to you within a 72 hours to set up a time that's convenient for both of you. And you can discuss your reference question there. It's really easy to do. And yes.
And we've actually updated the turnaround time since we are doing virtual Book a Librarians. The turnaround time is a little quicker. It's 1 business day.
Thanks.
And all of these are virtual, so you won't be coming into the building. We'll be working with you either over phone, by either Zoom or Skype for video, and those are some options we have to help you out.
So thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions, let us know. Have a great lunch, or glad you had a good lunch. Hope to see you at our next webinar. Thanks.